There's one little $8 part that so many roofers install on roofs, and it causes more leaks than anything else on your roof. What is it? And what can you do about it to prevent leaks from happening in your roof in the future? This is called a pipe jack. Your roof has to have pipe jacks, but pipe jacks are the most common cause of leaks in your roof. So how can you prevent roof leaks with pipe jacks? That's what I'm going to show you right now. Recently, I got called by a homeowner to do a leak inspection at his house. And when I got there, first thing that I like to do is go inside the house so that I can take a look up at the ceiling and see where is the water coming in through the roof. That makes it a whole lot easier for me to look on the roof and figure out where the water could be coming in. But when I got in the house, he just had a line of water stains all along the ceiling from the front of the house to the back of the house, pretty much in a straight line, except for one spot in the kitchen that wasn't in line at all. Now, oftentimes I like to go up into the attic to try to see if I can see where the water's coming through the roof that way. Oftentimes that's a lot easier way of finding a leak. But on this house, as soon as I got on the roof, it was very obvious, very evident what was causing his leaks. He had a row of sewer vent pipes close to the ridge of the house, from the front of the house all the way to the back of the house. And these were all directly over the stains that he had in his ceiling. And every single pipe jack was cracked and torn and had large gaps in between the actual pipe and the seal itself. But what about the stain in the kitchen? Because that wasn't in line with all the other pipe jacks at all. But when I got over to that side of the roof, guess what I found right above that stain? Another pipe jack that was in just as bad a condition. So there's a couple of major problems with this kind of pipe jack. Let me explain what those are. Number one, the base isn't very wide and the shingles don't overlap the metal base on it very far. So that makes it easy for water to get underneath those shingles, creep around the edges of the metal base, get underneath the metal base and find a nail that goes through your roof and follow that nail down into your house. Second, the actual boot on the pipe jack is made out of neoprene. Well, that causes a couple of problems. First, the boot doesn't conform very well to a pipe going through it at an angle. You can see that on this, the opening, the actual boot itself, is almost perpendicular to the base. So if you have a roof that has a pitch to it, meaning that it's angled, then this boot has to flex to accommodate for that angle. And this can cause what's called bird mouths. And that's kind of like a tiny little fold, or sometimes even a large fold in the material. And then you've got a gap between the pipe and the actual boot itself that water can go down into. Also, the neoprene boot has rings on it, which are actually guides to use so that the roofer can cut the boot depending on the size of the pipe. But if the roofer cuts that hole too small and then puts the pipe jack down over the pipe, if that boot is too tight, then eventually the tension of that can cause that boot to tear and develop those cracks in it. Then you end up with another gap between the material of the boot and the pipe. But if the roofer cuts the hole too big, then you still have a gap between the material and the pipe. But the other problem is that when the neoprene is exposed to weather conditions, especially severe weather conditions, that starts to cause problems. If it's in an environment that is exposed to really harsh, intense, hot sun, or if it's exposed to elements that are like really cold, bitter, freezing temperatures, then that neoprene tends to start to get brittle, starts to crack, starts to break down, and actually starts to get holes in it. And of course, when that happens, you can end up either with a very small hole for water to get into your roof, or a very large hole for water to get into your roof. So what good is it to buy an expensive roofing material that has a 50-year warranty on it, and then put a cheap little part like this on it that at best is only going to last a few years before it starts to break down and potentially cause a leak in your very expensive roof? So what's the solution? Can you get a pipe jack that isn't going to cause leaks in your roof? Yes. And we've actually named this pipe jack our Leak Stop Pipe Flashing. But it's actually called the Ultimate Pipe Jack, and it's made by a company called Lifetime Tools. Why is this so much better? How does it prevent leaks in your roof? I'm glad you asked. I mean, just look at the size difference between the base on the standard pipe jack and the one on the Ultimate Pipe Jack. So the metal base on the Ultimate Pipe Jack extends 6 inches above the boot and 4 inches on either side of the boot. Compare that to how small the base is on the standard pipe jack. The Ultimate Pipe Jack is 35% larger than the standard pipe jack. So on the ultimate pipe jack, water's going to have a much more difficult time getting underneath the shingles and then all the way around the base of the pipe jack itself. Plus, the edge of the ultimate pipe jack base has these little water diverter channels. So if water does get underneath the shingles, when it hits those diverter channels, it actually gets diverted and travels down to the bottom of the flashing instead of creeping out to the edges and getting underneath it. Next, the boot is actually sized specifically to the size of the pipe that you're trying to put it on. So you don't have to worry about trying to cut the boot and getting that size correct. All you have to do is make sure that you measure the pipes before you order the pipe jack for it, but that's a super quick and simple process to do. And the sizes that they have available are 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches, and 4 inches. And these boots also have a PVC compression collar at the top of it that helps seal it around the pipe even better. And since the boots can be kind of tight when you're trying to install it on a pipe, the compression collar actually gives you something that you can use to push the pipe jack down so that it gets flush against the roof deck. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but the boot is actually made to kind of look like the base of a manual stick shift in a car. And it can accommodate pipes on just about any kind of roof angle, all the way from a flat roof all the way up to an 18-12 pitch. And the boot's made out of silicone, so it's virtually indestructible. The harsh weather, even freeze and thaw cycles, aren't going to have an effect on this and cause it to break down. This pipe jack, unlike the standard neoprene one, is warranted for the life of your roof. So maybe you're asking, why do roofers still install the cheap, bad pipe jacks? I would say there's probably two reasons. Number one, they probably don't know about the ultimate pipe jack. But the manufacturer, Lifetime Tools, is actually working hard to change that. They're attending industry trade shows and they're trying to get their products in the hands of roofing contractors. The other reason is probably due to the cost difference. So the ultimate pipe jacks can cost anywhere from between 5 times to 10 times the price of the standard neoprene ones. But really, in the big picture, even if your house has a lot of pipes that require this type of pipe flashing, the total cost difference between installing the faulty pipe jacks and the Lifetime pipe jacks at best is probably only going to be a couple or maybe even a few $100s. So a better question to ask would be, is it worth a few $100s to you to prevent leaks in your roof for the lifetime of your roof? We found out about the ultimate pipe jack a few years ago, and now it's our standard practice to offer this to all of our re-roofing clients. So if you're a homeowner and you're about to have your roof replaced, I strongly recommend that you tell your roofer to use these pipe jacks so that you don't end up with a leak problem in just a few years. And if you're a roofing contractor and you want to get your hands on one of these, then you can go to the link in the description below for lifetimetools.com and talk to one of the folks there, and they'll ask you some questions. And then if you're really nice to them, they'll probably send you a free sample so that you can get your hands on it, look, see, feel it, and find out for yourself why it's so much of a superior product. Or just simply go to your material supplier and ask them if they already carry it. That way you can just see one right there at their warehouse. And if they don't carry it, tell them to just bring some in so that you can install some on your next roofing project. Hey homeowners, did you know that there are actually roof maintenance tasks that you need to be doing to prevent leaks from happening in your roof in the future? No? Well then, click this video right here to find out what those tasks are that you need to be doing.